It's a best of one. We're going full LCS for our final game of the night. Who will be eliminated from the tournament and go down to Challenger? To the winner, a chance to stake their claim on Sunday.
Yeah, and what will change as far as the pick and ban is concerned? The Univia certainly not going to as we move into Champion Select. It was Rakan, Olaf, Morgana that were chosen to be banned by Ever8 last time around, and Ever8 is thinking about doing it yet again, and the Anivia, Talia, and then the Kai'Sa were the options that Kongdu took away.
Adaptation I would like to see come through from Kongdu is in jungle pick, and with Yujun out of the lineup, predictable that Raze will probably be overlooking something like the Kha'Zix that is optimistic in this meta, where 4 to 7 tanks is pretty common.
We'll see. Okay, so Kai'Sa was the ban from Kongdu last time. Could look for some sort of first pick, but the Morgana a little bit earlier here for Ever8, so maybe wanting to change something. The Olaf might find its way through.
And they want to play Kai'Sa on blue side, says Kongdu Monster.
Ban the Kai'Sa and give Raze the Olaf, I guess, is the question.
Yep, I like this. Very nice adaptation here. I love gamesmanship like this, where you force a bit of a lose-lose. Now Ever8 could ban neither and force a trade and get Hoglet the Olaf if he so does crave.
Well, it is going to be the Olaf that's the option as Kai'Sa. They didn't want to give it over to Kongdu Monster.
First pick Olaf will be taken, but Swain and Trundle have so much synergy that I honestly think that Swain Trundle needs to be the draft on red side for Ever8.
Well, they don't necessarily need to grab the Trundle just yet unless Roach wants to play it on the top side of the map. And the Ornn was certainly something that Ever8 have been prizing. Swain also today has not been finding all that much success, as it's going to be a run back here for Ever8 with the support in top lane from last game.
Interesting to see. Does mean they will have to choose between one, and they give over Swain if Kongdu Monster wants it. The Swain doesn't get huge priority out of the Olaf, though. We've already seen first the Kha'Zix jungle, and now potentially Swain Olaf, where there's that negative synergy in that you don't have something to use the Swain passive on compared to the Trundle Pillar and most tank junglers that have that lockdown CC. The Kongdu Monster sticking with what has worked largely in the Gangplank. They still do have 2 powerful lanes, but both of them take a bit of time, Atlas, and neither of them necessarily will have priority. The Gangplank will be in a decent spot, but I don't imagine too much jungling around there. That does mean that the Olaf may be contested heavily by Ever8.
And does it now mean that San goes for a little bit more of a priority pick? Remember, Zoe and Cassiopeia were banned last time around in the second round, but no, Trundle is going to be the pick up here, so one of those options that you mentioned is going to be taken away as the Swain was picked up by Kongdu.
Bans will start to come in against Secret, and his Alistair is no secret. It's been one of his best picks all year.
Yep.
Be banned away. Waiting to see 80 carries. We could see an extended pool here as Kai'Sa and Vayne are taken away.
But Caitlyn's still an option, yeah, lots of other things.
True, and the Varus duty could be taken on by one of these two teams. The Kog'Maw for Soul, I look at and say, is very possible here as well, Atlas.
Yeah, and is it going to be the ban away here for Ever8 as well? Because last time you have to remember that it was Caitlyn Kog'Maw that was banned, and now we're just focusing on that support role instead. So Secret getting pinched just a little bit, but it's probably not enough because we all know that Secret just wants to play a catfish.
It could just be Kog'Maw Tom Kench. That was what I was thinking even before you mentioned Secret's own penchant for the Tom. It would be a really low engage comp, very situational engage for Kongdu, but maybe it doesn't matter. If the enemy team will do the initiating for you, a risky line of choice, but still one you could make. Action onto Ever8, looking for AD carry and mid laner.
Well, it's Ever8 that have a lot of engage options actually here. Even utilizing the Trundle to try and set up some sort of pillar play.
Caitlyn would be the obvious choice here with already a lot of engage. Their siege would be pretty immense. And how about we just blind pick Zilean? All right. Well, it's not a blind pick. They have Swain on the enemy team, so
they do know what's going
into
on.
Swain. Zilean will have the shove on Swain. Doesn't have the shove on many mid laners. We've talked about that before once you get a few levels and can double bomb the wave. I wonder what that means for AD carry. Just sounds like it's going to be pretty damn risky, Atlas.
Yeah, it might be one of these pocket picks that Hybrid has been working on. Interesting. Still a lot of priority picks to come in, as Sol is going to take away the Caitlyn. Understandable pick up here, very safe into the lane. I want to deny that away from Hybrid as well. And Secret, thinking about the Janna, but the Thresh would make some sense as well.
You want lane presence here, so I think the Thresh would be very smart. It also means that Raze can go for those aggressive invade plays and have the Lantern as one of his options, but he flips around a couple of champions to empower the team. May go away from the lane, and, well, why do we even talk about it? He just locks in Tahm Kench. Ever8 could go for Jinx here. Jinx would be a pretty powerful choice, does pretty decent in the lane against Caitlyn. They already have Zilean and a huge front line, so damage would be behooved. They're just going to go for the Tristana. Hypercarry was the way to go. Doesn't mean that Tristana versus Caitlyn lane, though, and that's a painful one.
That's an awful
with
one.
the range nerfs.
Yeah, things are a little bit dangerous here, but, you know, as Jorabid gets into the late game, it still is going to extend to the point where you can at least trade autos with the Caitlyn. Oh, man. It's a different composition here from Ever8, but they do have the Trundle, which is certainly a high-priority jungler. It's just the question mark around this Zilean in the mid lane. They've really opted in for Hybrid to be their carry of choice, get behind him, get the work done, and we may yet again be sitting here for quite some time as Hybrid gets to that 6-item point.
Now, Sun can push the lane as the Zilean and also allows a bridge for the Tristana at 3 items to have the extra movement speed from the Clockwork Wind-Up. That's actually the Orianna passive, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The speed up on the E and get things going. So the bridge there could actually be very useful. So I can understand it. My bigger issue is the lane is painful, Atlas. Jinx can lane quite well into the Caitlyn. Ashe, if you're willing to go utility, but they didn't need more initiation. The Tristana in this meta is being pretty damn deprioritized, and now the 2v2 is weak. That's another place the Olaf can go for a walk.
Yeah, and we'll see whether it's going to be Raze getting back into his early game shoes and really laying the smackdown onto Ever8 winners. This is do or die. This is their last chance, sent back to Challenger for one of these teams after this game. It all comes down to this. 8th game of the night, our final game of the night. Let's get to Summoner's Rift and see who is still alive in this promotion tournament. Okay, here we are. The fans still loyal to a fault against with Kongdu and Ever8 winners staying here for a very long time. They are the Ever8 fans.
Pretty difficult for Kongdu Monster to avoid opting into a pretty even Olaf versus Trundle matchup.
Yeah.
When we saw this matchup happen a couple of times in a row, we see it in other regions, we know that the Trundle can outdeal in an even situation, but remember the last couple of times we've seen Olaf versus Trundle. That's been with the Olaf team having Braum, and they've gone for 3 buffs. That was the strategy coming through for KT Rolster against the Freak of Freaks that did them a lot of good. They 3-buffed 2 games in a row, even with a change in the personnel. Because the Braum is on the side of the Trundle, very, very difficult to pull that off if you're Kongdu Monster. So you have to, as the Olaf, get a bit creative with your pathing. And you probably do have to opt into a lot more parity rather than a 3-buff.
Well, Raze is going extraordinarily low here. Takes down his blue buff and is going to be able to get at least the split leash. Is Hoglet going for a level 2 gank onto Edge. Sun looking for some bombs, not going to find it. Gets a very early flash. And Hoglet's going to move his way out, so already starting off very aggressive.
Trundle does a lot of damage with press the attack and having an auto attack reset when you're at 500 odd health at level 1. And that's why you see the trade surprise people. Much more common pick in solo queue than it was 3 weeks ago, but Trundle has definitely exploded through as that pocket pick against Olaf in particular.
Yeah, looking for a little bit of extra tankiness as well as Hoglet, who's going for Resolve secondary. Normally we do see all of the extra movement speed coming in from the Sorcery Tree with the Celerity and the Water Walking.
Can be creative as the Trundle. When we were seeing Trundle jungle in the LCK final, it was the Tiamat version that I wasn't as expecting. In Korea, we've had just purely Cinderhulk, and you actually farm the jungle, surely not the most expedient, but pretty decently as Cinderhulk Trundle, as the jungle monsters have changed a lot over time. But we don't actually see a rejuve bead start from Hoglet, so it could still be a Tiamat, but to me, less likely.
Yeah, and he's not going to get as much help around his jungle as well. Sort of, the leash was not exactly the most powerful, just because they do want to get towards this lane. Not allow Secret and Soul to do too much. They are still going to be able to shove forward, though, as Caitlyn is wont to do in this Tristana matchup.
Oh, it's just an awful lane for the Tristana early, even worse than it was before, and it was pretty bad before Atlas.
Yeah.
And the turret starts to take quite a lot of damage for 3.5 minutes.
That's going to be down. That's lost a third of it already, as there are still heaps of minions here. These caster creeps are throwing bullet after bullet. That's almost half the health bar.
Trying for an all-in, and notice that Hoglet's here.
Yep, they do have vision, of course. They know exactly what is going on, but the flash comes in from Hybrid. That's hyper-aggressive as Secret will be able to eat the grey health. Does so as the rocket jump comes in. They're looking for the catfish, and they just give up the kill. It was actually a cancelled teleport to come in from the mid lane as it's Edge that has that one cancelled.
Not sure if it needed to be interrupted, honestly. It was probably cancelled, Atlas, because at the end of the day, you can't really afford to leave lane there. They play the chicken game to Everate winners and say, Swain's not going to leave lane with a massive wave pushing into him just to contest this, so it is first blood over the side of Everate.
Yeah, Secret is going to switch over to the teleport and is able to get back to this lane. So it's as if nothing had happened. Apart from the fact that there is 300 extra gold on the jungler of Everate winners. Hoglet, the early aggression paying off.
Very active for a Trundle. Level 2 mid lane gank by the Trundle, getting a flash.
Yeah.
Would have meant it would have been a no flash Swain coming in without Demonic Ascension as well, Atlas, and that was another reason that the chicken game was won by Everate winners. Sun has done a pretty good job of freezing this wave, or at least keeping it in a nice spot where he's been under no threat of being ganked.
Yeah. It's one of those things with a Zillion is often you're a bit gankable in the early stages if there is any hard CC on the opposition team.
You also have super rubbish ability at freezing the wave because your auto attack has a long wind-up time and your only farming ability is AoE.
Yeah.
So actually keeping the wave there against Swain is not a trivial thing, so credit to Sun picking this one up.
Roach continuing to play out this top lane much as he has for this entire series. It's been Gangplank versus Ornn almost every single time. A lot of vision down here as Hoglet given away. Predator has actually popped here from Raze, though, as he actually opts in for the flash. They trade flashes. The Vision of Empire does come in. He lands the Undertow and Secret. He's turned up here as well. Oh, there's lots of damage. The Never Move comes in and Raze grabs the kill. They hard committed, and they got it.
They needed it too, given how little mid control they had. No mid priority. Bot lane roams up for it as well. That was true aggression and well calculated by the side of Kongdu Monster.
Yeah, we know what Raze can do if he gets his eye in the early game, and it looks like he was sitting backstage, getting himself ready to carry this one home for Kongdu. Still definitely very early days, and 300 gold is the lead for Kongdu here. But man, if they continue on that path, we know what Olaf is capable of.
That was the most Rambo Olaf play I've seen pre-6, maybe ever. He flashes over the pillar and tries to chase down. It seemed out of nowhere. They did have bot lane priority, but there was no Abyssal Voyage coming. That was just bloodlust from Raze, and it was at a time when they needed it, Atlas, because the Zillion was finding it too comfortable in the laning phase, and Edge was unable to walk up and get any mid lane priority.
And it was also just before level 6 was hit as well, so that Chrono Shift unavailable to bring back up Hoglet. Now he doesn't have a flash, didn't have his life there either. He's going to continue falling behind the Olaf, which is farming up an absolute storm here in the jungle. Another back to come in. You got Merc Treads picked up for Edge, so these double bomb stuns aren't going to be as much of a problem. 58 to 37 is the farm on the bottom side. Yes, it's an awful laning matchup, and yes, you can expect things to go bad, but do we expect it to go 20 CS by 7 minutes bad?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the turret health. It seems like the turret health is low also. That's maybe some CSing issues. We see when Reckless picks up the Tristana, which is very, very frequently, he actually sometimes goes daggers to try to help with the last hitting, so he can just try to use his E passive, but that hasn't been used here, so I think actually it needs to be criticized because he's getting it pushed in, he's losing turret health, and he's missing the last hits.
Yeah.
Not an easy thing on Tristana, but something you need to be experienced on to play the champion.
Well, Ragnarok is available here for Raze if he wants to use it, but the bombs are flying through from Sun. Actually just softening up the Olaf quite a lot. He's going to be able to secure his blue buff here, his Sun, with Vision of Empire coming in, just to make sure that they know exactly what is going on.
Remember, they did not need to go for the Tristana. It was a last pick 80 carry with Jinx and other options available. Went that
Raze.
because they liked the idea of the Zillion Tristana late game. If you lose the turret and get roamed on, and Kongdu Monster have shown that, okay, close in the game, tricky, but the ability to get the 3 outer turrets at 16.5 minutes in one of their games, possible. Seems like Soul and Secret are doing their job, and they're doing it well.
Yeah, and they're also going to be able to take this first turret blood at 8 minutes into the game. Definitely not what you want as the Ever 8 winners who...
They actually just prefer the Infernal. They'd rather get the Infernal than fully kill the turret. They know that the difference between an 8-minute 30 turret and a 10 minutes 30 turret is not massive.
And also deny the CS underneath the turret as well. Continue that farm advantage. It is almost to the tune of 30 here for Soul.
Pretty
He's going to
huge.
start going back.
Pretty huge value on the Infernal, as when we've seen Raze play this Olaf, he's gone Black Cleaver in. And sometimes when he shouldn't, but still, he does have the aggressive mindset. Could be 4 damage dealers on their side.
This time around is certainly paying off. Currently 5 camps ahead of the Trundle. The Cinderhawk will be coming in very, very soon, so grabs his red buff. We'll see where he's going to go from here.
Raze can't really do much more to argue a starting spot on the team.
Yeah.
Felt hard done by to be subbed out after a victory and coming in, and again, it seems weird to return to the point about his play in mid lane, but you can't make that bot lane play if your mid laner still doesn't have priority, which was seeming like it wasn't going to happen. He bailed out his mid laner and got the first kill for the team, arrested the negative momentum in mid, and then they made the nice play bot lane. You need the multi-step plan, and he's enacting it.
Yeah, it was actually really beautiful to watch. The fact that they understood how much they needed it as well and invested so much to get forward and pick that one up. Very impressive stuff. So I'm going to be charging up the tier. There's a couple of books there as well, and Swain has not yet gone back. You can see it's a huge lead, actually, for the Zilean. Just being able to hoover up all of these minions as they head forward.
Trading advantages between the Swain and the stunner to the enemies, as you can see.
Yeah.
Top lane, up to Massey, not said. He's going fine for Roach. They still have the Cannon Barrage. Olaf is strong and can walk bot lane and pop the Predator, and they should get this turret. But the more minutes it lives, the happier Tristana is, as she will have to counter-rotate on the Caitlyn as time goes on.
Yeah, it's a lot of control and happiness here for Soul on the bottom side. Doesn't necessarily have a massive lead as far as items are concerned. Does have an extra dagger, but that is about it as far as getting anything over the top of Hybrid. I'm going to try and hit these timings at the right points, though, as Hybrid and Lucifer are going to go back. And this time around, this tower will not survive any longer.
Only a matter of time, and they got an Infernal. They traded it for 2 minutes. All going to plan so far, as Hoglet says, maybe I can steal away a Rift Herald. It's going to be in Vision, as the Vision of Empire spotted him out.
Yep. Know exactly what's going on. Lots of pings down there, but you can see the bottom lane is already moving over from Ever 8 winners. It might mean that Hoglet does have time and does have the support to grab this one, because there will be 5 members. Abyssal Voyage is going to bring Secret close by. Ever 8 winners now with 4 members already here. We're going to try and set this one up as Hybrid jumps in on top of Edge. He has his stopwatch though, as in goes Raze. He's doing a whole host of work as the Cannon Barrage is there. Demonic Ascension really doing it here for Edge, who jumps over and wants to be able to grab that kill. They are able to take down the Rift Herald, but Edge flashes in, kills the Ornn, is able to get stuff done. Hoglet jumps over, 200 health is on him, but oh, Roach can't thread any more barrels over the top. And it's 1 kill for a Rift Herald. That probably is okay for Ever 8 winners.
That part you'll call worth, but Soul is mid lane, and only Hybrid is here to try to keep the wave up. Lucifer walks up, but we've seen this rodeo before. Ever 8 lose it. It's going to be a lot of turret shots, going to be a lot of turret damage. The Zilean has teleport up. So overall, you'll take it if you're Ever 8, but it certainly wasn't a triumphant exit after the Rift Herald got low.
Yeah. Wasn't exactly what they wanted. Edge this time around, instead of getting caught and then instantly dying, gets caught and then uses the ultimate beautifully. Uses a lot of other things as Never Move comes down. The amount of lockdown there with the traps, and look at the Sith Lightning as well, really cutting through the Trist. But Soul goes down very, very low. He's going to have to go back and try and augment that item build with a few more things, because they've only got that outer turret in mid lane down to about half health.
Speaking of down below half health, Soul needs a little proc there to get over half health. An outside chance he straight up dies to Sun, who has switched away from Ignite and has the teleport, as we mentioned. So that comes through. The game calms down for a moment. We remember the Rift Herald was claimed by Hoglet. All the turrets are basically full health, so it's going to need more than just plopping it down a lane to get a turret from it.
Yeah. Well, Edge moving towards the top side of the map. Looks like the bottom lane is going to be invested mid in order to take down that half-health turret that we were talking about just earlier on. Trinity Force now completed. There's Edge looking to try and get some work done here. Should do so very easily, just clearing out minion waves.
Presses Q a few times, has a blasting one, so we'll do some decent wave clearing. 5 points into Death's Hand.
Okay. Vision here available as Raze is discovered. Another Never Move comes in, but Hybrid didn't really want to do any damage to the Swain because he takes some turret shots that he didn't want.
Both the Raze and Edge throw their Qs and it basically kills a minion wave. That's just the reality of the Olaf, who does have some range farming ability. Trying to push through mid lane, but they're actually focused on zoning away and maybe fighting.
Yeah, Raze actually 1 versus 4 right now, only down to about half health as there's the call of the Forge God coming in. Good positioning here from Wufei, but Hoglet, can he actually re-engage into this fight? Secret gets the Devour in, and Roach is going to flash away.
Okay.
Oh my god! That barrel was god tier as in goes Edge, now just controlling the space.
Edge.
The Never Move is beautiful! And Hybrid is taken down. Chrono Shift gets Wufei back up again, but he may as well not have wasted it because Ever8 winners, they were never going to win that fight.
Zone control's been good from Kongdu. Edge able to turn on. They DPS out the mid lane. Can they get the turret with no wave? The answer continues to be no. It all started with Soul walking up and actually being a bit in no man's land, but he had his flash. He reset. And Kongdu Monster reset that fight to get once again ahead of Ever8 winners.
Yeah, and Hybrid, it's once again a situation where the bottom lane has been crushed, but it wasn't like this last time around. Remember, Hybrid actually started off the game with a bunch of extra money from that early invade in game number 2. And now, no such lead existed at any point, and he's down by 55 CS already at 15 minutes.
And the worst part is he self-counterpicked himself to get there.
Yeah.
He went full Dade on that one. The mid laner for Samsung Blue. I actually have to explain it because remember Dade's been away for so long.
He did it mostly in Masters 3 over in the LPL.
And he also did it on Champions he was super, super known on. Hybrid could have visited so many other picks, chose not to. The Infernal over to Ever8, a bit against the run of play.
Yeah, Raze actually couldn't actually get in there just quickly enough. Didn't have flash. Rod of Ages is now done here for Edge. He's going to move bottom lane now.
Actually pretty tricky to kill this turret because there's so little commitment on double bomb that getting a minion wave to push is causing a lot of frustration for Kongdu Monster.
Yeah. Well, Sol, he's got his rapid fire cannon, building that before the Infinity Edge. It's pretty understandable if he wants to just be killing turrets, and I mean the rapid fire cannon is especially better if you have a Zillion that's being pesky.
If he's not able to get any shots on the turret when Sun leaves the lane to get blue, it's never going to happen when it comes to take this mid lane turret without some sort of other ultimate. Could try a cannon barrage to zone as, man, Swain was able to DPS through there.
That's a lot of damage for a Swain. We always talk about Swain not necessarily being
9,
a massive
10.
amount of damage.
It's not even a level 11. It wasn't even any AP items. Just the Demon Flare was basically, Demonic Ascension was the 100% uptime, you would say, and the Demon Flare was good as well.
Yeah. Stunning stuff. And Edge sort of redeeming himself for what was relatively lackluster performance towards the end, especially in that last team fight on the Swain. Was certainly still strong, but now really showing some prowess in this. It is a difficult matchup because, you know, you're not really used to going against Zillion. It does change your playstyle just a little bit.
Doesn't have any lane priority either.
Well, that's
barrels
a big
come through.
Barrel. Yeah,
couple
Roach.
more autos, but they get 300 damage on the turret, if anything. Rift Herald off the map. Kongdu, around 1630. They've got 2 turrets, but the third one evading them. No easy next objective to take. The Infernal not spawning for a while. As we're going for a pretty deep gank on Wufei. He's all alone.
He is all alone. Definitely dead. No turret there available, and he's just the last shot going to come in from Sol to finish that one. Now, Ever8 winners trying to get something here in the mid lane. Can they do it? I don't think so. I think Edge should be able to get some damage across. The Never Moves there, and he has the Sith Lightning. The Death's Hand. Just clear out those last caster creeps.
You could just use the Demonic Ascension if he needed to. There's no team fight that needs to happen in the next few minutes because nothing has spawned on the Rift.
Yeah.
Didn't need it. We'll walk back up, and with only about 3 to 4 more autos needed, this should be the moment, you would think.
Slow and steady, winning the race here as Sol does take a lot of damage from that bomb. He gets popped up. The Devour comes in. A Secret says, no, we're not going to deal with this one. He's going to take the bomb damage. Tahm Kench actually fantastic just to make sure that that last bomb doesn't murder your teammate, assuming you've got enough to take that damage.
I think Roach should really be using the ultimate around this turret. The last 2 or 3 times they've pushed up. Forces at least 2 people to walk back, and he's not using it. Again, they don't need to team fight forever, so The fact that they've held on to it, you might say, okay, well now they have the cannon barrage as well. It's really about the timers, so
yeah.
at the end of the day, they pick it up. Infernal will spawn soon. The Baron spawns in a minute 50. Wonder if you need a Vamp Scepter at some point, because every time Caitlyn walks up, just even minion waves coming into the lane, just clipping him with the bombs and actually DPSing down Soul.
Yeah, I think the Doran's Blade and the Fleet Footwork just not quite enough to get him back up to full health after each of these waves flies in. Soul's having a great time just killing minion after minion. 2-0-2 now as well, so of the 6 kills certainly been around the map, and we'll see how close to the Infinity Edge he is when he goes back, and he's very close because it's purchased right out of the gate. 51 CS is the advantage, and that's why Hybrid unable to grab the last portion, the crit cloak, as well as the completion of the Infinity Edge.
Ray's actually called away from his big popcorn chicken, as you would call it, the big raptor, in order to get exactly IE gold. So Soul's a monster at this point in the game, and Hybrid has a red buff, but is certainly not a monster. However, it's Kongnu Monster, and their late game micro and macro has let them down at points. Closing games is tricky. They don't quite have a Kha'Zix jungle. They definitely do have more bridging to the late game in game number 3, but never any guarantees, as it could just be that 16 and best of 3 loss streak and a return to challenger for Kongnu Monster for the 3rd summer in a row.
Yeah, it could be Zeke's Convergence coming in from Raze as well. Might be the Olaf's time to augment Soul. As, yep, there's the Ornol, just trying to clear out the minion wave, but is it actually going to be enough? I'm not entirely sure. Devour comes in as Ever8 winners want to try and find a kill, but it's 3v3, and they're already behind. 7,000 gold now at 20 minutes into the game is nothing to scoff at, as that double bomb looked very, very close to hitting Soul, but doesn't actually come in.
Got one of the bombs on the second one, as you mentioned, an arm. The instant stun. Oach walks over. He's been unmentioned in this game, apart from me maligning some of his ult choices, but he has been farming the whole time. That's a good teleport.
Yeah, teleport is going to come down. Demonic Ascension is whiffed just a little bit there from Edge. Almost felt like he got too scared, but Sun is still going to get caught. Does have the ultimate still running around him in the Chrono Shift. And now Wu Fei is going to get in. He's going to get himself out again. Ever8 winners successfully disengaged.
Really nice Trundle Pillar actually stopped the rest of the team from being in range. The teleport could have been turned on. I really like the idea. The lane gank coming through from Edge. Couldn't quite get the maximum. Gonna go for this turret damage anyway.
Yep, Sun donates the experience over to Hybrid here just to make sure that that draw a bead can come in as soon as possible. But Kongnu Monster, they're the ones that are able to capitalize, and we are so close to 10,000 gold being the lead. 4 turrets to 0 in favor of Kongnu Monster. That 1 kill on the Dragon is all that separates this from a perfect Kongnu Monster game.
Doesn't feel like a lot has happened, but you're right. The gold lead surprises me in its size. The Kleptomancy certainly helping, as the entire time a nice CS lead has been built up for Gangplank. Somehow, 3 Infernals have spawned in this game. This had to be the one where the RNG blessed us the most.
Blessed Kongnu Monster the most as well. They've got a lot of champions that really love having augmented AD and AP. Gangplank and Soul's Caitlyn certainly standing out.
There is the Zeke's Convergence you mentioned, another champion that is riding on. Basically, if you're a teamfight jungler, build a Zeke's Convergence, gives you magic resist, armor, a bit of CDR, and it makes your AD carry more of a god. So Soul is happy as can be.
Pretty easy to press your ultimate button onto Raze as well, because he wants to be running in with that Ragnarok and doesn't want to be stopped by all of the options that Ever8 winners do have available to them.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah?
Where was the Rift Herald used?
It was used bottom lane, I believe. It was used late. Or was that the last game? There's been a lot of games.
This is our 8th game of the night, but I remember the Rift Herald being there and all the turrets being healthy, and I guess it was used mid lane?
Yeah. I mean, that turret doesn't look healthy, so... Oh, but also there was an opportunity given for Ever8 winners to push back. I personally am not going to... I'll venture a guess at bottom lane and or mid lane, but I don't actually know.
I do know one thing, and that's Shirelia's Reverie is a nice situational try on the Zillion.
Yeah.
Even more movement speed this time for the whole team. Not as exclusive as the usual single target E is.
Yeah, and also meaning that it's not as exclusive to be Karma. Now everyone can be Karma. It's exciting, just don't get the shield from it. You can speed somebody else up even more as well.
Wait, does that make Aurelion Sol the Karma Chameleon?
Yeah, sure.
Yay!
Oh dear, Papa Smithy. I just think that 3 best of 3s. That's the dream when it comes to saying the silly things. Swoopei is going to take a lot of damage here from Roach.
He still hasn't gone big damage, Bill, but he does get him out of lane, and they can get the turret here if they just focus on it.
Yeah, look at the investment, as not a lot of the minions are going to survive, but Wufei had to use everything to try and make sure that this doesn't go down. Below half health, though, for the inhibitor turret 23 minutes into this game. Baron is, of course, available, has been for a few minutes now as well, and we're just about to crest 10,000 gold. 9,000 the lead for Kongdu at this stage of the game is ludicrous when there's really not been that much other than just the turrets, the rotational plays, and the Caitlyn play that we've seen be so successful for teams like KT Rolster as far as the first ones to really capitalize on the Caitlyn play. Raze wanting to use that ult when he can, but it's Hybrid that's the target. Oh, so much damage coming in here. Just a few auto attacks. And was that a flash?
It was a zoning ultimate from...
I like it.
The Olaf.
It was just to give Sol the extra damage from the Zeke's convergence to nail down the 4-shot kill.
Oh, he didn't need it at all.
I know. But, you know, it did look cooler, I guess.
Look, I'm a bit tired, so perhaps I'm a bit cranky at this point.
Yeah, maybe you are.
But Atlas, their entire comp was to buff up the AD carry, and the AD carry self-counterpicked himself and is doing absolutely nothing in this game.
Yeah, Ever8 winners have sort of hit themselves in the foot. They were maybe trying for the handicap. They're like, if we can't beat Kongdu Monster with a handicap, how do we deserve to be in the LCK? Maybe that's
you don't
it.
be. Maybe you don't.
Maybe they are also able to win a fight here and steal a Baron and then win the game. Because we remember in game number 2, Kongdu were also ahead. And then lost.
Kongdu decided they didn't have a way to answer the Trundle. You look at their team, and they're not the best team at interrupting someone coming over the back of the pit, so they decide
you could almost
find a better
left
time.
it at that.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, glass half full. 8th game of the day, hype, etc.
Exactly. And I know if someone sat down just to watch this series, they're like, why aren't they super hype? It's like, guys, it's because it was 6 hours before that we actually started the broadcast.
No, it's not even that. It's our 20th best of 3 that Kongdu Monster
And also,
played.
you're an analyst, and Ever8 winners have a composition that self-counterpick themselves.
Yeah, I mean, he just could have gone Jinx. And it would have been better than this.
Yeah. Also, Sun didn't need to blind pick a Zillion as well. I mean, that didn't necessarily need to happen. But it happened, and he was able to get the CS lead, still has it. There in the mid lane, 30 CS ahead.
And you know, Ever8 winners could still win. It's still possible. This game could continue to go. Kongdu Monster have not been great at closing games. We just came off a 40-plus minute game.
Yep.
This time they have more options. This time they're more ahead, and the enemy AD carry is all they have, and he himself is far behind. So, Kongdu Monster in a good spot. This should be their close, but finding a way to get the Baron, as you can see, not trivial.
Thing is that the Gangplank split push is actually a terrifying thing. We don't have Hybrid at the point where he can 1v1 the Gangplank at all this stage of the game. He's building an Infinity Edge as item number 3 as well, changing that build-up when he did have the Ghost Blade in game number 2.
Less of a truce here. He's definitely trying to double down on putting out the big damage. Not quite the Essence 3 of a second, but baby steps for Roach, who is usually a pure tank player. Kongdu Monster have the ability to win 5v5s. They win the split push. How do they get the Baron? Because for now, that is evading them, and pushing minions into the Zillion is not the full solution.
Well, I mean, they have an opportunity to go now, but none of the information of the backs actually was given over to Kongdu Monster as Wufei tries to capitalize. A little bit of a bonk on top of the head of that barrel means that wave clear is not as quick as Roach would have liked.
Troll wards on the pit. No more available. I assume Olaf already has one down. Of course, hard to tell. On the spectator overlay, they're pushing topside. All right, making a multi-man rotation. This is good.
Seen this play before, is now Wufei taking a lot of free damage from Sol, and they get the base broken on the bottom side. Thankfully, Sun is there, so they don't lose the inhibitor as well, nor do they lose their top laner. But they're just taking so many structures around this map, and that gold lead that we've been talking about, 11,000, and only growing and growing and growing. Another Cloud Drake going to be spawning here after the 3 Infernals that we had earlier on in this game. And that's going to be very quickly taken by Raze. Another back to come down. We'll see when Caitlyn's going to go back home and grab item number 4.
Feel really good about Cloud Drakes in this game. A lot of movement speed on the enemy team, and while a Cloud Drake alone won't match Shirelia's and Zillion, it is still going to be the ability for Swain to more reliably in combat get off that Demonic Ascension into Demon Flare. So Cloud is definitely of higher value than it was in the past now that it affects the combat.
Yep.
Zonia's was pretty delayed by Swain, who went for a higher damage build, but going to be coming next. Now they have a lot of ways, and the lose-lose begins for every winners. In the bot lane, they will eventually lose the inhibitor, as Orin's not doing reliable damage. The Gangplank is getting out of control, working on his Phantom Dancer.
He's super huge right now, yeah.
Super huge. Basically, Olaf, when it comes to the ability to exclaim about himself, would be actually smart for the Gangplank to participate in. Soul is a monster as well, and the Tristana is still pretty useless. Hongdu Monster have everything going for them, but is it too many things working for them? That is the suspicious part they have to work for.
Oh, you know you're in the promotion tournament when you've got a team that's winning by this much and you're still not quite sure.
I'm trying to adjust my monocle, but I'm not quite getting there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Infinity Edge was completed from just a BF sword and then a Zeal added on top of it, so Roach, like you say, gigantic.
All I ask, as Raze needs to clear that ward, is do something, Hongdu. It feels like everything they do, basically anything they go for, will probably work out in the maximum way. We've said that before, and they've managed to botch it. Hongdu Monster, in these positions, have lost more than any other team in Korea since Sonic Boom was still in the league. So, alright, yep, everything's good. Go for the turret, Wu-Fei can't enter lane, that's great.
Yep. This is understandable. He hasn't actually taken down the inhibitor just yet, as there is a cannon barrage available from Roach, of course. Wu-Fei will need to flash to get in here. Vision of Empire gives all of the information on over.
They don't really have the ability to turn, as you can see.
Well, I mean, now they've got the Baron inhibitor taken, so they will be able to keep Wu-Fei exactly there towards the bottom side. More frustration is going to ensue.
Do they see any recourse? They do have some advanced vision.
Get him, Secret.
Secret's interrupting.
Yeah, and Lucifer, he has to flash. Double flashes actually come in as Hoglet. He gets out of the way. Cannon barrage to stop Morbacks. I don't understand what they're trying to do, but Roach is going to take down an inner turret, and I guess that is why they opted in for all of that. But he doesn't even manage to take it. Now the Baron should go down as the backs were stopped for an extended period of time.
All right, this is when you can finish. Roach is on duty. Trundle can't get there. They got no vision in the area. It's going to be Baron. Okay, Concrete Monster.
There we go.
Now
that was pretty clean, too.
You get the smile. The seems good is going on in this particular game. Hoglet just sadly trundles his way to the bottom of the map.
Oh, I love that that is a verb as well. One can trundle.
Good macro. That was good.
It was.
Everything short of the Gangplank ultimate, perfect. Good job. Hongdu Monster, now you can roll in. You've got the Baron. Your Caitlyn is so big. Has the Gathering Storm compared to the Ezreal that he wasn't running on that in game number 2.
Yep.
And it's time to break the base in the second spot if you're Hongdu Monster.
Yeah, that Bloodthirster relatively close here for Soul. Building towards that is item number 4, making sure that he can keep himself alive if he gets poked out by the bombs and things like that. Lucifer getting himself into position, but I don't think he ever wants to really be in position to start off any fights. They're just trying to weather this storm. They managed to do it in game 2, but it was a very different scenario. 13,000 gold, the lead at 30 minutes in. Roach is huge. You got a 3-0-2 Caitlyn with billions of items. And you've got Edge, who has the safety of the Zhonyas. Everything's a good news story. They have Raze here as well. I mean, it's no longer Yujun who has struggled. It is Raze who has at least tasted success in the LCK. There's another Abyssal Voyage. 4 members towards the top side as Hybrid. He is the target. Raze comes down with the Ragnarok, and Edge can't actually get himself over, but it's the inner turret that was the target for them. Take it down. My God, 15,000 gold now the lead. And if ever 8 winners win this game, my head might explode.
Seems very unlikely, as Hybrid is not strong enough to vindicate a comp built around him. The Zillion Chrono Shift gets no value, because you can only out-Hybrid everyone else to tank.
Oh God. And Sun almost gets crit to the face and killed with only a couple of autos here from Soul, who will be able to break the base once again. So bottom lane inhibitor has been removed. Mid lane inhibitor also going to follow.
Hongdu Monster are in a chocolate factory that only has chocolate, and they just have to avoid the vegetarian option on the menu. That's the only thing they can avoid. They just need to find the chocolate. Everything's great.
Yep. Don't go vegan on us now, no. Hongdu, please.
They can push, they can soul, they can split push. Everything is absolutely set up for them to win the game. Hybrid not strong enough, may have a second Zeal item. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. just too far behind at this point. Raze is going to turn up. He's at half health, but he doesn't really care too much about it. Thinks about that more as a DPS increase, given his passive.
All right, Kongdu Monster, how are we doing this?
We're going to kill the inhibitor, I think, Pub Smithy.
Tutorial style, okay.
Yep. So how they've been trying to do it anyway is Call of the Forge God does come in. Soul gets devoured. And the knock-up is actually just eaten. And
Sun has 0 health, so he's out to fight.
Yep. That means that 4 versus 5, unable to defend the inhibitor. And now we've got super creeps buffed up by the Baron buff. Lucifer gets barreled to the head. And Sun just spends all of his time on the fountain. There are no options. You've got a Gangplank tanking up turrets and just running forward. Hoglet comes in, he does use the Subjugate, but it's on a Gangplank. He doesn't get any tankier from that. And Raze, he's down very, very low, and there's no more turrets left in this base apart from this one spindly Nexus turret. And Ever 8 winners, I feel, are circling the drain now. Kongdu Monster, I think they've kept themselves alive at least for another couple of days.
You know you're far ahead when at 33 minutes you're sitting on 10,000 gold and you're still ahead by 6,000 gold. That's how far ahead they were when they exited the base. 15,000 gold lead. There's a copious amount of items everywhere. Why are you killing the Cloud Drake?
Maybe they can kill it so fast that the extra movement speed gets them to that last remaining Nexus turret in time.
Nope.
Maybe that's what they were debating, though.
That didn't happen. They debated us instead.
Yeah, they did. Definitely did.
So you don't need the Grom.
Why are you're about to... You don't need any more money. Oh my god.
All right, Kongdu Monster, get in there.
Yeah. They're just savoring it. They're savoring it. They haven't had a match win in a very long time, Papa Smithy. Let them just play with their food just for a little bit, because this is an excitement feeling that they haven't had outside of solo queue for an extraordinarily long time. Inhibitor going to respawn. Lucifer takes a lot of damage from the rapid fire cannon. Caitlyn, who's got double buffs. Really feeling brilliant is Soul. QSS is done, as well as the Bloodthirst. You can see the Overshield already working. And Soul just wants to shoot people. Oh no, this Nexus turret not long for the world. Roach just needs to hit it once. Soul as well, but he's not focusing on that. He just wants to shoot the members of Ever 8 winners.
Looking for that KDA Atlas.
Yep, I feel like Edge can just walk forward and press Demonic Ascension, buy space for the Caitlyn just to kill this Nexus, but no, they want to do this as carefully and as calmly as possible. And here it is, the last-ditch engage coming in. Call of the Forge God is Zonya'd out of the way from, and Roach is trying to put the barrels in secret. Has to spit out Edge as a lot of damage does come on top, but Soul, he's just playing front to back. Lucifer taking so much damage. Cannon Barrage doing the work. Chrono Shift keeps keeps him alive, but my god, the double kill comes in from Edge, and now the Nexus is to follow. The autos are being looked for by Soul. When he focuses on the Nexus, it does put Kongdu through to the best of 5 against the loser of MVP and Griffin.
Let it be known that Kongdu Monster cannot be defeated 16 times in a row. 15 was the number, 16 it ends, and Kongdu Monster may not have sealed their spot in LCK Summer 2018, but damned are they trying, as they will face the loser of our match in 2 days' time. That will be MVP versus Griffin.
Yep, Griffin or MVP, both of them looking very good today. I mean, MVP following up from a loss, looking very, very good, but Griffin looked exceptional. Man, Kongdu Monster are going to be very scared about either opponent they are up against, because MVP have had a good time beating Kongdu Monster over the season. And if it's them that get sent down because Griffin are too good and have managed to get through to the LCK, it's really scary. And if Griffin goes down, it feels like it's even worse.
Look, we could go down there, throw the bucket of water over their heads and say, well, you beat the 5th place team in Challenger. But we won't. We will celebrate them for ending their streak. They have been able to beat an opposition that was assigned to them. In the end, they largely had good moments in all of their games. There were no Kongdu Monster rollover situations that have happened many times in the past. And when Raze is in the lineup, they have the ability to hit a different level. Unfortunately, Yujun, even though he had his moments on the Kha'Zix, something was amiss, and honestly, the Kha'Zix pick was a bit amiss.
Yeah.
In this particular game, they looked like they were going to win. They executed. Their macro was cleaned up compared to they were a month ago, and they close it out. Kongdu Monster are still in with a shot, and sadly for Ever 8 winners, they may have peaked on 8.6, but all that 8.6 preparation didn't get them over the line.
Yeah, we now have to say goodbye to Ever 8 winners. And my goodness, Soul did so much damage that game. The early game was taken care of. It was smooth. It was calm. managed to grab that one kill that they were looking for after the Zillion had that push priority, and from that point on, everything just went well.
But why did they pick the Tristana Atlas? It was
We've had this conversation, Papa. We don't know. We don't know. Maybe, just maybe, Hybrid cannot play anything other than Kai'Sa and Tristana. That's probably
the
not
Tristana
true,
didn't
though.
even do triple the Brahms damage.
No. In fact, didn't do very much damage at all. It was a depressing time to be an Ever 8 Winners fan in that third game, but it's a good time to be a Kongdu Monster fan because they finally won a match.
They finally did. They finally are able to silence the losing streak. They will not be a new record holder.
They won't be the new Spenu, which is definitely good.
I believe they actually joined Spenu at 15, but
God.
technically they weren't all LCK games, yada yada.
Yep. It's good to keep Spenu in one sort of record, though, you know?
Spenu is in my heart forever, Atlas. Spenu also, the badge of Spenu being worn by Lehens, who was on Spenu Korea in one of their promotion attempts. So, after a weird and wonderful 9 hours of League of Legends, MVP, they beat Ever in our first series, Kongdu Monster. They ended up being rolled by Griffin, especially in game number 2. Griffin looking good. And then we finally had that victory. What does it mean? Well, we have 2 best of 5s before now. And the summer season when it comes to LCK, MVP versus Griffin could be hype as Griffin, you know, we're not sure they're going to walk in 3-0. This could definitely be a 4 or 5 game series as MVP really do want to re-qualify. And then Kongdu Monster will wait on Sunday to face the loser of MVP Griffin.
Yep, MVP versus Kongdu Monster could be the option there, but MVP did actually have a great back set of games. So I like what you're talking about here because all we saw from Griffin was demolishing Kongdu Monster. And that's not MVP. We know that they are a much better team, especially on their day, able to take wins off all sorts of teams in the LCK as well.
Do feel like if Griffin goes full late game, MVP will beat them at least once, and that makes it really spicy. Game 1, I think, will tell the story. I'd be very surprised to see 2-0, 3-0 Griffin makes it in 5 games, because they showed a lot of weakness, and they do have holes in their gameplay, but they were the best team on the day, as MVP did stumble in Game 1 against ESC Ever.
They certainly did, but guys, it has been one hell of a day today. 8 games. We got our money's worth, most definitely.
Thank you so much for joining us. The little Korean love hearts come through from the casters here. Thank you for joining us, and there's still more Atlas.
Yeah, there's still more on Thursday. We're going to be back. It's going to be Achilleos to bring you that next best of 5, but for us, we're saying goodnight. See you guys later. We're going to get some sleep.